Hello and welcome back to John's Comics with Kids. Today we got a special edited video looking at the full spoiler review for those first two episodes of WandaVision on Disney+. If you want to hear what the girls and I thought, stick around and watch this video. WandaVision, finally a Disney Plus TV series set in the Marvel Universe. I have two huge Vision and Scarlet Witch fans here, and I thought we could have a little fun breaking this all down for you. First, right off the bat, girls, can you give me a score? If you were going to grade these two episodes out of 10, Charlie, what would you give it?
Well, probably a 8 out of 10.
Okay, Kate?
A 9 out of 10. Almost a 10. Maybe a 9.5 out of 10. I really love those characters.
Nice. And I would say I'm probably in that same range, around a 9 somewhere. I think they really did some great things here. Let's talk about what we really loved. Charlie, what were some things that you thought were really well done in this first two episodes?
I really liked how they captured the old TV show sort of thing. I really liked that. I feel like the actors did a really good job about capturing that.
You mean like the way they acted, like old-timey kind of thing?
Yes. Especially the neighbor.
Uh-huh.
She was the best. I also really liked when they could like change outfits.
And their face too.
And yeah, the face and then the rings and you go snap.
Some of the magic or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's really cool.
What about you, Kate?
Well, first, I obviously love those characters, so I'm going to have a hard time rating it down. So.
Yeah, because Vision and Scarlet Witch, those are two of your all-time favorite characters. In fact, if you go back on this channel to one of the earliest edited videos, Kate and I broke down the original 80s comic book series.
Yeah. And so, I love the characters. I love how they're married in this, because you never got to see them as like an actual couple in the movies. I feel like you really only saw that little piece in like the
that
first
one scene,
Infinity War,
yeah,
where they were like living together and they were just enjoying themselves, and you never really got to see the inside of their relationship. But now you can see it, and you get to see what they are to other people when the other people aren't superheroes.
Okay,
so that was really cool to like see them socialize with other people.
Nice. All right, what about problems? Is there things that you didn't like as much, Charlie? Was there anything that you were like, I didn't like this part as much?
I didn't really enjoy the part where, well, mostly the character Dottie in general.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she was really just too full of herself in the way that she felt like she had to be the boss of everything.
The blonde lady who was running the big event.
Yeah,
yes.
she's super
Gotcha.
bossy.
Dottie. Mm-hmm. And I also felt like I liked the neighbor in the sense that she was very outgoing and that she captured the old-timey things really well. But I felt like she was a little much sometimes. And that just didn't click for me.
Okay. What about you, Kate? What were some things that maybe didn't work so well for you?
Well, I didn't really have a problem with any of the characters.
Okay.
But I kind of was confused by some of it, just because, like, at the end, there's, like, that beekeeper that walks out of the sewers, which is completely random, and I don't understand who it is.
Sure. And that's probably, like, a part and parcel with, I think, what a lot of people felt was that there was a lot of things that were really confusing, and some things weren't really explained very well. There's a lot to take in here.
A lot of information to process and attach to other things, try to attach to other things.
What about you?
Well, I mean, I definitely feel like Charlie mentioned the format. I really dig the old school television format that they went for this, but I also understand that that has limitations, and so it's not going to be the MCU that we've been seeing in movies. This is definitely going to be a different beast. And as a result, I think it's going to have a different feel. It's going to have a little bit of comedy, but I also think they tried to layer creepiness. Like, this was a little creepy and a little like paranoid. Like there's something anxiety ridden behind the scenes and we don't know what. So I understand that that can be kind of frustrating for an audience, but I really dug that. I thought that was really well laid out. So let's talk a little bit about some of the Easter eggs, some of the things that we might have spotted that maybe people didn't pick up on. And I know, Kate, you were a big fan in the second episode where they were doing all the magic. There was some stuff you picked up on.
So in the original comics that I read, there's two characters called Glamour and Illusion. And I think they meet while she's pregnant in those comics. But they go to like a Halloween party in it.
Okay.
And they like meet these two people and they're watching a show. And in that book, there's the Enchantress.
Yes.
So I don't know if they're going to bring her in. But so those characters, Magic and Illusion, or
Glamour
and Illusion, that's what Vision and Wanda call themselves in the talent show.
Right.
So that was like, wait a second. I was kind of confused and excited for it.
It's connected to kind of the magic and the stuff that's going on there with the Enchantress. Now, people have been theorizing about who is the Enchantress going to be in there. They've talked a little bit about, Miss Harkness?
Oh, yeah, Agatha Harkness.
And that perhaps their neighbor character that Charlie liked might be Miss Harkness. There's a lot of question marks about that character.
I do think that Enchantress is already in there because I'm not sure if she dies or anything, but I felt like that world was mostly of people who died. Because I think in one of the trailers, you hear her neighbor or someone saying, "Are you here to save us?" And then that confuses me a little bit. Like, what are they saving them from? But Dottie, I felt like she looked a lot like the Enchantress to me. Because I've read the old comic books and she has her hair in that
long
way,
blonde hair.
Blonde. And she just has that kind of attitude that is just like the Enchantress.
That's a good point.
So I had a feeling that might be the Enchantress. But then there are a lot of people in there who seem like they're kind of brainwashed.
Right.
Like they don't understand. So I'm thinking the Enchantress might have been put in there because someone was angry at her. And then they brainwashed her and she had like no idea who anyone is or what her name is.
Nice. Now, for those of you that noticed, there was a lot of symbols that the show used, right? I know that Vision's tie, a lot of people were talking about the dots on Vision's tie and what that could mean. Obviously, we see the symbol for the agency sword. Pretty prevalently. Like it's at the end of episode 1, and then they seem to be highlighting sword as being an agency of S.H.I.E.L.D., right? That is perhaps behind a lot of the looking in on Scarlet Witch and Vision. So that was a kind of cool little Easter egg. They also had those fun commercials.
Yes, those were so... I was just going to talk about
What did you think about the commercials?
Well, one of them was Strucker.
Yes.
Which, I don't know if you guys know, but Strucker is the person who works for Hydra and invented the twins.
In Age of Ultron, right?
Yes, in Age of Ultron. He gave them their powers. And then there also was another one for Stark.
It was a toaster, right?
Yeah.
I know that Kate wanted to talk about that one.
But I had a feeling that's not just randomly an ad. I have a feeling that they might actually be in there too.
Could
and
be.
They just haven't met them yet.
Could be.
Otherwise, it's just randomly.
What did you want to say about the Stark Industries toaster commercial?
Well, when we first got it, Dad was like, "Oh, there's like cool ads in between them to like show this is how the TV shows were."
Back then, yeah.
Yeah, and so it starts coming, and there's like a toaster, and I hear a noise that reminds me exactly of Tony Stark when he's launching up his blasters.
His repulsors, right?
Yeah.
They totally used that sound effect in the toaster.
In the toaster. Yeah. And so I heard it, and I was like, this is a Stark, isn't it? And I was like, so excited, and it was, and I was so happy about it.
And the toaster reminded me of Captain America #1, when we see Stark at the expo, and he's doing the hover car. The shape of the silver hover car, the hubcaps and where it's lighting up, reminded me a little bit when I saw the toaster, just the design of it. So I'm wondering if, what they're drawing on from that. Are these commercials just sort of useless, or are they hinting at evil Hydra things and evil sword things or evil Stark Industry layers going on here? Could be some cool stuff. I want to talk about the mysteries going on here. There's a lot of people guessing as to what's happening to Vision and the Scarlet Witch. Is this all in Vision's head and they're working on him? Is this all in Scarlet Witch's head and is she having like a breakdown because she lost Vision? Is it in her head or his head? because they've been captured by somebody who is doing work on them. What do you think's happening, Charlie?
Well, I don't exactly know for sure, but I'm pretty sure I read a comic book where there's this one character, I think it was a villain, where he actually got inside one of their heads. I don't remember which one, but I have a feeling it was Wanda's, because if you listen, there's the radio that says Wanda, who's doing this to you,
Right.
and they're connecting to Wanda.
Right.
So I have a feeling that might be something. And then I noticed that she finds the helicopter.
Right.
And then there's that scene that Kate was saying with the bee guy.
Beekeeper, yeah.
The beekeeper who comes out of the sewer. She says no, and then it goes back in time.
Yeah, it reverses.
And I think she wanted that to happen. And then she had a baby. So I think she's having this nervous breakdown of everything that was supposed to happen to her Vision. And then she died, and it never happened.
You think she's dead?
No, I think he died.
Oh, he died. Okay.
And
I was like, spoiler, that's exciting.
She suddenly has this nervous breakdown, and then everything that was supposed to happen to her and Vision never happened.
Wow. Interesting. Okay, Kate, then what do you think? I mean, I know Charlie just gave us a whole bunch of ideas, but what do you think?
Well, so there's another comic, and it says, if I was looking through the Marvel Encyclopedia, and it was telling me about how her kids, Wiccan, and I don't remember the other kid's name, but he's like Quicksilver kind of.
Right.
And so they have twin boys, and I remember that they aren't real. There's something to do with that they aren't real, and she's imagining all this. She's like creating, like manipulating a world that she wants.
Right.
And maybe I don't know how she's doing it, but she has her powers, and she can do that. And maybe she's doing what she did to Tony. She's like putting a thing inside her mind. And then, or maybe it's Vision's mind that she's doing it to, or trying to like wake him back up.
Or someone's doing it to her.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then in that comic, she destroys the world after she finds out it's fake.
Yep.
And it's not pretty.
No. Yeah, so for those that don't know, Scarlet Witch has several sort of dramatic stories in the comics where she reshapes the reality of the planet Earth. In one storyline, she gets rid of all mutants. She says no more mutants, and the mutants on planet Earth, except for like maybe 100, vanish.
That's right.
Or they lose their powers. She also does the storyline right before that is called the House of M, where she reshapes Earth and puts mutants on top of the power structure, which means mutants are the most powerful. Mutants are running everything, and they are hunting humans in some ways. They are controlling the world. So she reshapes the world a bunch. And of course, with her children, similar. Now, there's also a Vision series where Vision's living in a cute family home, and he's lost his time with Scarlet Witch, so he makes a wife and he makes children.
And part of her is in
exactly.
his wife.
So there's these questions of who's controlling this reality. I think that Charlie's right. I think it's definitely Wanda who's controlling this.
There's not that many scenes with Vision, too.
No. And she is definitely the one manipulating everything. So the question for me is she doing this on purpose for some reason to fix Vision or whatever? Or is she doing this to fight against an enemy who has trapped her in Vision for some way?
But I do think there's one thing that you were saying. The last time we see Wanda, she's at Tony Stark's wedding.
Funeral.
Yeah.
Yes,
sorry, not wedding. And the first ad we see is Tony.
Is for Tony's.
And then her powers are Strucker. So I think they're all her memories.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, it's like the first time we saw her was Strucker, and the last time we saw her was at Tony's funeral.
So
and those are the two ads that we got.
See.
Right?
Yeah, and also the last person who you see that she really talks to is Hawkeye. And it's because they both kind of lost someone who they loved.
Right.
And then you hear the voice on the radio. And
it's a man's voice, for sure.
We know it's a man's voice. At first we thought it was Captain America.
Right.
But it doesn't really sound like Chris Evans at all. And then we were thinking, what if it's Hawkeye?
It's got to be somebody who knows her because he's calling her by her name.
Yeah, and I think it has to be Hawkeye because he was one of the last persons to talk to her. And he's one of the people who really understands her currently because, well, Hulk too, but it doesn't.
Well, in Civil War, he's the one that breaks her out, sets her free, right?
So I
feel like there's a connection there. There could be
like a little
something.
friendship too, maybe,
right,
between them. But then Kate was saying that when you see the agent's hand, she said it looked kind of feminine.
Interesting.
It did kind of. I thought it had like.
You mean
nails.
that now there's two agents, right? There's the beekeeper coming out of the sewer, and there's the one clicking buttons on the television at the end of the first episode. Yes. You're saying the one at the beginning or the end of the first episode.
Yeah, but the
might be a woman.
The beekeeper, we know, is definitely a man.
It does look like a man, the beekeeper.
You can see its face.
Right.
But we never really know what happens to Agent, I don't know her name.
Hill.
Agent Hill. Yeah,
Maria.
I don't remember if she disappears or not. I'm not really sure I remember.
All right, well then let's get to what do we think is going to happen later on, or what do we want to happen? So Kate, where do you want WandaVision to go, or what do you hope to have more of in the future episodes?
Well, I kind of want to have some of the like original comics things, like characters in there. Like just some of, like, I really want Glamour and Illusion, because they're really good friends with them in the future. And they had Luke Cage in there for a little bit in the comics, and they also had another character. I think it was, they had Captain America in there for a little bit, but then they took him out. So I don't know. I would really love to have more people in there, and I want them to just be happy.
You want them to get happy ever after, but at the same time, obviously Vision, as we know him, is gone. Yeah. So it's a question of, will this series be able to bring him back, or is she just dealing with the fact that he can't come back?
Well, I am hoping that she moves on and comes up with a solution without destroying Earth. And everyone, because I feel like if she destroys Earth, she's not going to be any happier. Because then there will be no one for her. I really think what they should do is they should somehow have Vision die off, maybe, but like in her mind. So then she comes out and is like,
we already watched him die twice.
He's actually gone.
Literally, like we then evaporated him once, and then we yanked the stone out of him the second time. So this is thrilling.
I will say, a bunch of people are talking about the idea that maybe this series is really just setting up Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, or his second film, and that Wanda's trip through her mental breakdown, or whatever she's going through, is going to be resolved in the Doctor Strange film.
Oh, that'd be so interesting.
But this could be Vision's mind, maybe. And that he hasn't, because remember, he's not actually human, right?
He's not.
He's a robot.
Yep.
Yeah, but then we snapped the fingers, and maybe he's back, but he's in Wakanda. And she has having a nervous breakdown, and she's too busy having that she doesn't realize.
Maybe.
This is something I noticed. I don't know if it's like actually true, but so Vision, I thought, like, seemed a little less calm. He seemed like a little more frantic. And he seemed more active, like he wanted to, like, he seemed happier, I suppose, less logical, kind of like how Spock sometimes when he's around humans is like kind of more emotional, but not like that much.
Okay.
But it just kind of like stood out a little bit to me. Because I feel like Vision is always so calm in the other movies, and then, you know, you don't really see him with Wanda, so maybe it's something with Wanda, but...
Maybe.
I don't know.
For me, I'm enjoying these like trips through the decades of movies and TV. So I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what they do in these next few. There's a Brady Bunch one, I think, coming up next week. And then after that, I don't know quite what they're going to be doing. So I'm looking forward to all of that. Let us know. Do you guys want to see more of these? Should we break down every single episode or every couple of episodes and let you know what we think? These two episodes clearly went down really well. We enjoyed them, and we hope you guys did too. Let us know, full spoilers, what were your thoughts on these episodes, and then leave those comments down below. We'll get back to you. Thanks, everybody, for coming, and see you more on John's Comic Review.